Hi, this is Steven from Just Got Played, and today we're going to take a look at Tiny Epic Vikings. So this is the Deluxe Edition, which means it has the Shamans mini expansion included. So we'll be taking a look at that as well. And I have the Ragnarok expansion, so we'll be opening that up too. All right, so you can see it's the typical Tiny Epic size box. You can see the game is for 1 to 4 players, 30 to 60 minutes. Ages 14 and up. We take a look at the back and see what makes something a Tiny Epic game. You got a QR code, a list of all the components, and here's everything we're going to see when we open up this box. All right, so let's go ahead and get that open. So I did say that the Deluxe Edition means that it includes the Shamans mini expansion. Otherwise, everything else is the same as if you were to buy the non-Deluxe Edition. The Deluxe Edition doesn't have like deluxeified components or anything like that. All right, so let's take a look at the rulebook. There you go. You've got Dice tutorial, learn while you play, so that's pretty cool. We've got the components listed here, a prologue, table of contents. You can see there's a lot going on here. Tiny box, but epic gameplay. All right, so we've got a game set up with a nice picture with all the numbers referencing the steps, so that's good. Gameplay overview, resources and runes. It is a drafting game, so you're going to draft these leader cards and play those. Here it explains these Viking cards. And then you've got actions you can perform, resolving a battle, playing a card to perform its action, starting or joining a battle that somebody else has started. Let's see, it talks about the map with islands and fjords. Then there are the different leader actions you can do, like sailing a boat, docking a boat, deploying settlers, etc. Gaining control of an island, influence, stealing an island rune by getting the most influence on an island. Here are the different rune actions that you might see on the cards. We'll take a look at some of those. Dedicating a village is something optional you can do on your turn. And then there's the phase 3 cleanup. And then it talks about final scoring, which is mostly based around these runes. All right, there's a 2-player game variant as well as a solo variant. So there's a lot of information here on the solo play. And if we look on the back here, yep, there's a quick reference guide. So that's pretty handy. All right, so here's Shamans. I'm going to set that aside. We'll open that a little bit later. Let's look at the components we've got here. So a lot of nice looking components. These look like the settlers. So there's 6 of these in each of the 4-player colors. So I'm just going to pull out one of each player color here. They are all the same. All right. So there you go. There's the 4 different player colors. You can see it's screen printed on both sides. And all right, there you go. Those are what the settlers look like. Well, so we've got some villages, which can be out on the map. All right. So let's take a look. Here's almost a golden color. Interesting. So there's the villages. That's good. There's supposed to be 13 of those. That looks about right. All right, got some runes here. All right. All right, so this is the Raven marker. So the Raven marker goes on the era board to mark which era you're in. The game is played over 3 eras. All right, so again, burned on both sides. These are for the different gods. So these are the markers. So they each have a +20 side. And that is how you're tracking the Fury. So these are called Fury markers, right? So there's one for each different type of rune. Grab the other one in here as well, right? So those are your Fury markers. All right. And then these are all the runes, right? So the runes that go out on the islands. So you've got the 3 different runes and 3 of each. All right. What's next? What we got in here? I'm going to have some temples and boats. And what are these? The resource markers. All right. So each player has a player mat. And on the player mat, you track your resources using these markers. I know one of these is steel, and I think food, and I'm not sure what that other one is supposed to represent. Let's see if I can find that here in a minute. All right, let's take a look at these boats. 16 boats, 4 in each player color. So let's just dump those out and get 1 in each player color again, so we can take a look. That is not a boat. All right. All right, so here's the different boats in the different player colors. They'll start out on your mat, but then you can deploy. Actually, you do put one of them out on the board during setup. And then, they're just the same on either side. All right. Cool. This is the chieftain marker, which is like the first player marker. All right. And I got temples here as well. And scoring markers. That looks like what we've got here. All right, so there's the yellow temples, green temples. Let's see, there's 2 in each color. Is that right? Yeah, it looks like I have 2 green, 2 yellow. Yep. All right. Put the red one up here too. There you go. So there's the temples. These are the scoring markers. So at the end of the game, so they're just playing on one side, and then they have the plus 40 on the other side. You flip over the arrow mat, and it becomes a score tracker where you're adding up your points. All right, and I had another resource marker still stuck in the bag there. All right, let's see what else do we have here. Got a bunch of cards and mats. I'm going to dig down and get to the board and have a look at that. All right. So here is the board. If you look down here in the corner, this says it's for a 4-player game. And if you look down here, this is for the 1 to 3 player game, right? So, you have all of these fjords and docks, places that you can dock that might have villages. And these are ferry routes between the places. And these are the different runes that go, on each island. So depending on how you have it set up, looks like there's more islands going on at the 4-player versus the 3-player. All right. So that's the first time there's been like a folding double-sided board in a Tiny Epic game. All right. This looks like, that's the arrow mat. And then I'm betting the player boards are in here with this. If I can get this open. All right. So we look at the back there. It's just got the Tiny Epic art. All right. So we'll start with these. These are gods. So there's Odin the All-Father. You track the fury around the edge. I think this is maybe the boon or something when you dedicate a village to them. And some other action that you can trigger based on each one. So you're going to have 3 different gods, and they're going to be randomly assigned a specific rune that sort of increases their fury. And you want to increase their fury because the gods with the most fury, the runes for those gods score the most points at the end of the game. So definitely something to pay attention to. All right, those are, I guess, all the gods that come in the base game. There are more in those expansions. So here are player boards. These are all going to be the same, I'm pretty sure, except for the color. So here's red, right? And so here's a place to keep your temples and your boats and your settlers until you send them off the mat. Here's where you track your resources. Everything starts here at 2, and they go up or down. You can't ever go above 7 or below 0. All right. And we'll go back and look at the back of these in a second. So again, yeah, these all look the same. I don't see, are those values at the bottom the same? Yeah, they're the same. Okay. So again, it's just the player colors is what's different. But if you turn them over, it talks about the clan, and I'm guessing this is for solo play, although I don't entirely know. All right, there you go. This is the era/scoring card. So here's where that Raven token goes, and it tracks the era that you're in. Here's, I think, where you put those villages to dedicate them after you've plundered them or whatever you call it. Here's where it's telling you what the runes are going to be based on which ones has the highest fury or whatever. All right, and then on the back is that score I talked about. So it goes serpentine style scoreboard. All right. All right, what else do we have in here? We got these little cards, which are called favor cards. And the way the favor cards work are you're actually going to be fighting battles over these favor cards. The rune here at the top, this is a passive rune. So this is only for scoring purposes. It's not an active rune for triggering things during the game. But when you get one of these, you can take this. I think it goes face down so people don't know what runes you've collected. And then you get these resources as well. So that's cool for winning the battle. Seems like they're all for resources, different mix, and one rune. All right, there we go. That one has 2 runes, but less resources. That's kind of cool. All right. Yeah, all right. Oh, that one is 2 of the same rune, but only has 2 resources. Okay. All right. Well, I kind of like the distribution there. There'll be a bunch of these laid out, and you can choose. Typically, from 4 of them will be available for you to choose from during the game. Just that kind of cool back art. All right. Well, let's look at the Viking cards. All right. Let me get this open. All right, so a Viking card, you've got the name of the Viking. All right, so in this case, Carl, and some art. This is an active rune. So when you have this card active, the one that you played that round, as your leader, then that means you have this rune to combo off anything that needs that rune. This is their strength in battle. So they have a 12 strength in battle, although I think that means it's a 2 steel cost in order to get that 12 strength. This is the leader action that they can perform, which means they can move, I think 1 settler 2 spaces or 2 settlers 1 space. I'm not entirely sure. And then there's also a rune action. So if you do have the runes required, in this case, 3 of this sort of F rune, then you can, I don't know, maybe remove opponents' settlers, which is kind of cool. All right, so let's just look at some of the other Vikings here. I'm not going to explain every one, but I will go through them if you want to just stop and look at any of them. I do like the art and the art style. Tiny Epic Games, sometimes the cards are pretty important, so it's nice when they're well done and look good. All right. And again, you do draft these. So in Era 1, you draft a certain number, and then Era 2, I think you actually draft more, and then Era 3, you draft even more. I know the number varies, but I'm not sure what the number is offhand, and I'm sure it depends on player count too. All right, so we got a lot of. This is good that there's a variety of Vikings here. All right, let's see what else do we have here. Yep, that is it for the Viking cards. All right, so next I am going to show you the Shamans mini expansion. So this is the Shamans mini expansion. Again, this is what makes a deluxe edition a deluxe edition. If you buy the regular edition, you'll get everything you saw in the video so far. You just won't get this. All right, let's see what all comes in here. So obviously there's a rule book. You can see that it comes with 6 Shaman Viking cards, 2 God mats, and 14 Cairn tokens. All right, so it talks about setup. You just shuffle the Shaman cards into the Viking deck and the God mats and with the other God mats. All right, and Cairn tokens go on favor cards that are marked for them. All right, it talks about how the Shamans work, what's different about them, solo rules, and then here's everything about the Cairns. All right, cool. So what else do we have in here? All right, here on the top, are the Shaman Viking cards. All right, so they've got this back. And if you look at them, so this is what's special about Shamans. They have 2 active rune symbols. And then also their normal leader action also requires a rune to activate, as well as their rune action, of course, requires it as well. So that's what's different about these Shaman cards. All right, so let's look at the ones that we've got here. All right. Yep, so just shuffle those into the deck. All right, what else do we have in here? Got 2 more gods. All right, so we've got Loki, god of mischief. All right, and Hel, goddess of death. All right, cool. Always nice to have extra gods. And then here we have these Cairn tokens. So these Cairn tokens, which you get from those fate cards that have the symbol on them. These just count as a wild rune. So when you decide to start a battle over a specific favor card, you take this off the favor card and you get to keep it whether or not you win the battle. And anytime you want to activate something with a rune and you don't have that rune, you can use this to do that. You just discard it. So it's a one-time use wild rune. All right, cool. Well, let's move on to the Ragnarok expansion. The Ragnarok expansion comes in one of these thinner boxes. So it's the same size, except the depth is just a lot less. All right, so yeah, this is an expansion, not a standalone game. We see everything that's going to come in here. All right, well, let's just get this open and start looking at Valkyries and Giant Slayers. All right. All right, the Slayers Rulebook. That's a good start. There's a prologue, the expansion. All right, so there's a new Bitter North map, and you have to use that with this expansion. And then, of course, the Valkyries, and then all these new Viking cards. So it talks about how to slay a giant. So there are going to be these giant tokens. Then there's going to be one out on every region of the board, and they're worth different points. And you need a Valkyrie and some settlers to kill those giants. And the giants, while they're out, they reduce fury, so you want to get them off the board. But you can use these cards just as normal as well. You don't have to use the cards that are in the deck to do any of the special actions. But Valkyries, the only way to get them out is from a Valhalla boon. So you have a new board with Valkyries on it. And then here's the solo stuff. All right. So let's see what we've got in here. All right. These are the giant tokens. And like I said, one goes in each region and they go face up like this. But on the back side, you see there's a number of points. And those are in-game scoring points, right? So you get points for, there are some things that you need to have slayed a giant to be able to activate. But also at the end of the game, there are these points, right? So you see 9s, 6s, 8s, 10s, 7. All right. So those are the giant tokens. All right, let's take a look at the Valkyrie tokens. So every player gets a Valkyrie board, and then there's one Valkyrie for each god that is in play. I'm just going to dump all these out here. This is a really thin and annoying bag. There. Now it's not anymore. Okay. There you go. There's one from each color, and they're screen printed on both sides, just like all the other components we saw before. All right. What's next? So these are the Viking cards, right? So we're going to see Valkyries and Giant Slayers. All right. So that looks like a Valkyrie. So this is a wild rune. So you get to decide what rune that is. All right. And their battle strength depends on how many other Valkyries, how many of these Valkyrie tokens are out on the map. So that's interesting. And I think this means the Valkyrie is there to slay the giant. All right, in this one, it says you have to have 2 Valkyries out in order to be able to do this action. But Valkyries can carry stuff. So they can carry settlers, they can carry temples, even. I guess the symbol means it's from the Ragnarok expansion. So that's nice. All right, so we've got a few Valkyries here. And these just get, like I said, mixed into the normal Viking deck. And you can separate them out easily enough. All right, and then we have Giant Slayers. So Giant Slayers actually reduce the cost of slaying giants. So again, this one, oh, hey, you know what? Maybe that's what that other symbol meant here, because we have it here now as well. All right, this one says that its strength is 4 times the number of giants you have already slain. And normally a giant takes 3 settlers and a Valkyrie. Maybe this one is just 1 settler. Reduces the number of settlers you need when you're slaying a giant. Anyway, all right. And so they have normal actions, and you can do leader actions. All right. So we've got that one. Got this one. Got a few of these, which is cool. I like the art on that one. All right. They've all got a pretty interesting face paint type thing going on. All right. So let's look at these mats. So these must be the Valkyrie mats, and maybe the gods will be in here as well. All right, take a look at the back of these. Yep, okay. All right, so there you go. Each player color, and I'm going to guess that's for solo as well. But yeah, so here's where your 3 Valkyries go under the rune that they're associated with. All right, and so each player gets one of these, so they're just these in the 4-player colors. And then we have new gods. All right, the God of Beauty. How nice. All right. It's always cool to have more of these. Don't know if any of these make sense, whether or not you're playing with the expansion, though. Not entirely sure about that. All right, so here is that Bitter North map. So again, we look down here, there's the 4-player side, and then we have the 1 to 3-player side. All right, cool. So again, in the other map, you had every region was a different island, but here, some of them, they share land borders. So that's one of the things that's different here. There's a couple there and here. And also you have these docks. And you see there's arrows going both ways because this dock actually applies to both. In fact, when you're unloading settlers, you can unload into both of them if you want. And a docked ship, which generates influence, counts for both as well, I think. All right. So, all right. There you go. That is Ragnarok. Now I'm going to see if I can fit everything into the base game box. So the question was, can I fit everything from the base game, the mini expansion, and the Ragnarok expansion in the base game box? And the answer is yes, but you're not going to like it. All right, so I've got everything in here, and there is a little bit of box lift, which is not bad. If you're going to play with everything, maybe this is all right for you. But of course, the other thing is, I like to organize my components. And really the only way I could get everything in here is just by throwing everything in the box, right? I've got the favor cards stacked here, but there's just stuff under there. And I've got both boards under here and all the Vikings here. I don't even packing it tighter, I'm not really sure. Not only would that would just be untenable, I'm not sure it would make that much more space. So can everything fit in the base game box? Well, you decide. Also, I don't think I showed this earlier, but there you go. There's the inside of the lid. There's always nice art all throughout Gamelyn's Tiny Epic stuff. All right, there you go. That is Tiny Epic Vikings. and the Ragnarok expansion and the Shamans mini expansion. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. That helps us out. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more things like this. If you have any questions, leave a comment here on YouTube, or if you look in the description of the video below, there's links to our Discord channel where you can come talk to us about games. There's also all of our social media links if you want to follow us on any of those. But until the next time, thanks for watching.